Hello and welcome to Brexit Business Podcast episode, a whopping 156. I'm your host, Malcolm Gallagher. I was just about to switch on the microphone to record my part of this episode when my news ticker flashed up that Jacob Rees-Mogg had been appointed Minister for Brexit Opportunities and Government Efficiencies, whatever that may mean. So I just had to hold on to what I was about to say in my podcast, sit down with a cup of tea and amazement on my face and think carefully about Malcolm's monologue changes. Also in this episode, there's Hugh's news recorded by him before the Rees-Mogg event and Hugh's view. So let's get started and pop across to listen to Hugh Morgan-Williams. In these challenging times of the 2020s, you need to know what's happening in the world of business. Hugh's News, written and presented by Hugh Morgan-Williams, brings you your essential news digest.
This week, Northern Ireland's First Minister resigns after checks on lorries are halted in defiance of the withdrawal agreement. The Brexit Replacement Fund, designed to match EU regional funding, is set to cut payments by billions. Drivers say lorry queues at Dover are the result of Brexit paperwork, not a shortage of in-service ferries, and Michael Heseltine says getting rid of Johnson would be a precursor to rejoining the EU. The Democratic Unionist Party has ordered its officials to halt Irish sea border checks in defiance of the withdrawal agreement. Edwin Poots has been threatening to act as part of his party's ongoing opposition to the Northern Ireland Protocol. At the same time, the First Minister, Paul Givan, has resigned. Sinn Féin, the partners in the power-sharing government, called the move a stunt and has thrown relationships with Stormont into chaos. Foreign Secretary Liz Truss is expected to speak to her EU counterpart on the issue soon, but the UK government says border checks are a devolved responsibility. The fund designed to replace regional EU funding has already been criticised for falling short. The government had said that as a minimum the fund would match the £1.5 billion a year after Brexit, but already the Welsh government says the new Shared Prosperity Fund will leave Wales close to £1 billion short over the next 3 years. Other regions have expressed similar fears. Opposition parties fear a bonfire of EU laws on everything from data privacy to road standards could be forced through behind Parliament's back. The PM's Brexit Freedoms Bill will use backstage regulations instead of full scrutiny and votes. After 2 years of Brexit, the government's produced a booklet on the benefits of it. It's listed blue passports, imperial units and crown symbols on pint glasses as key Brexit achievements. Scottish, Welsh and Northern political leaders aren't impressed. Lorry drivers are another group that aren't impressed. The government have put queues at Dover and Calais down to a refitting programme on ferries. But lorry drivers tell a different story, saying it's entirely about Brexit. One driver said it was taking each driver 15 to 20 minutes to negotiate the forms with customs officials insisting on wet signatures, and the Port of Dover's chief executive is warning of worse to come when greater lorry volumes bite later this month. Finally, the great Remainer campaigner Lord Heseltine posed a question this week. He suggested that Boris Johnson's exit over Partygate could lead to a second referendum on Brexit. The Brexit agenda was a pack of lies, he says. If Johnson goes, should Brexit go with it?
Hello, Malcolm Gallagher here, and it's a rapidly changed Malcolm's monologue this week. As I said in the opening piece, the news of Jacob Rees-Mogg's Brexit minister appointment necessitated me to have a complete rewrite of my monologue. Why? Well, I was about to have a moan about how Brexit has slipped out of sight these days amidst all the Partygate stuff, supposed levelling up, the worry about the NHS, the Ukraine situation, and so on. But all of this whilst the border situation for businesses is getting worse. Then up pops beleaguered Boris with, as the Daily Mirror calls it, another switch around of male, pale and stale people. Now, my mind is bewildered as to what the EU will think of Jacob Rees-Mogg. He is a cut-class accent and pinstripes and references to obscure political history led former Brexit leader David Davis to once call him the member for the 19th century. However, he and Boris are, let's call it thick as thieves. They went to Eton together, and this appointment to a fill a ministerial position may be Jacob's reward for his loyalty. A Boris survival strategy, but not the change we need regarding Brexit. It will be interesting to see if multimillionaire Mr Rees-Mogg takes his salary rise from the current £34,367 a year as leaders of the Commons to his £71,673 as a Minister for State. Wow, so much money there that I couldn't get it out correctly. I think one of the quick stories to come from the change around was there was quickly to be called a he shuffle because of the lack of women handed top jobs. Is Boris frightened of women in power? Has the recent revival of Theresa May shook him? Back to Brexit. Jacob Rees-Mogg's Brexit opportunities role will not be made any easier by his previous personal statement that Brexit could take 50 years before full economic consequences are known. He also said that there would be cheaper food in the wake of Brexit. You try telling that to the public today. As you can probably gather, I'm not enamoured by Boris's appointment of Rees-Mogg, and I say that with my business hat on. But I also have to be careful how far I'm letting personal opinion cloud my judgment, as I'm hoping, made with the lies around Partygate and the Boris compounding them, let alone his effort to distract us with his Keir Starmer and Jimmy Savile outburst. I'm hopping mad about it. Or how the world is laughing at us at the moment, and I reckon will laugh even more after the Rees-Mogg appointment, who many say is given to Trumpian moments. There's the typical British business owner working hard to protect his or her reputation, win more export business, manage rising costs, look after staff, manage Brexit red tape, and likely thoroughly hacked off with government. I'll let you finish the rest of the scenario. So you'll say, all this is above me and I can't afford to waste time on it. And you're right, but you need to take some action if you want that growth business, particularly expert business. So here we go with my 7 suggestions. Number 1, avoid any politician getting anywhere near your business. They only want glory for themselves and not for you. Number 2, don't avoid incorporating the Union Jack into your value proposition, particularly your marketing. Now, I proudly included in our BVTV network, telling people the show is coming from the UK studios of BizVision, and that's given me tremendous kudos worldwide. Putting aside, this is number 3 by the way, putting aside Joker Boris, the UK has a great reputation, and I suggest that's thanks mainly to Her Majesty the Queen, and this is her 70th Jubilee year. A great way of diverting the conversation away from our shambles of government and any association with lying is to talk about the Queen and Commonwealth and so on. Use video to tell your business story and aim to get clients doing video testimonials. If a picture paints 1,000 words, imagine how many a video paints. 1 million plus is the estimate. Now, I should know, having interviewed 650 plus business and thought leaders on video in the past 2 years alone, and watched those videos go viral. Emphasising your marketing. Number 5, your made in the UK story. It carries a premium, but it also says reliability. Now, I know, again, because for the old UKTI, the UK Trade and Industry body, I presented shows around the UK to over 10,000 plus businesses, and the words reliability and quality kept coming up time and time and time again as selling points before price. Number 6, get better at virtual networking to find new customers. Now, take my 650 plus interviewees and imagine the network we've created with them and their contacts. And I have around 100 more lined up for just in the next 3 months alone. As one interviewee, world visionary leadership expert Oleg Konovalov says on a testimonial at bizvision.co.uk, working with us is a collaboration. So we aim to always put some BizVision or BVTV magic into every relationship. We know what ours is. What's yours? And finally, number 7. Don't copy other people. Don't copy other businesses. Be your authentic self, both for you and your business. As Oscar Wilde once said, be yourself. Everyone else is already taken. Okay, I've gone on long enough, but I hope the 7 points give you, well, some pointers to winning. Fake and misleading news exists, and it can be dangerous for you. Get a true view of the news with Hugh's View from Hugh Morgan-Williams. Often prickly, but always insightful.
Manufacturing remains really important to the UK economy. Though it accounts for only 10% of GDP, it's responsible for 45% of exports and 65% of private sector research and development. When its indirect effects are taken into account, it probably accounts for more than a fifth of GDP and up to 7.5 million jobs. It's also key to the government's levelling up agenda. A big area of weakness has been car manufacturing, which last year dropped even below the very weak figure of 2020 and extraordinarily was at its lowest since 1956. Britain's car industry is still highly dependent on the EU market. 8 in 10 cars produced in the UK are exported and 55% of exports are to the EU. In what's described as a dismal year, the Society of Motor Manufacturers and Traders said that more than 9 in 10 firms were spending more time managing UK-EU trade compared with 2020. At the start of the week, the government published its 108-page document, The Benefits of Brexit. It was, despite its length, desperately thin, a mixture of aspirations so far undelivered and things we could perfectly well have done while remaining members of the EU. For manufacturers, Brexit has brought costs and problems, not benefits, as outlined in the report. The Trade and Cooperation Agreement with the EU fell well short of replacing the frictionless trade that existed before. The adverse effects include more red tape and disruptions to labour flows, both affecting certain manufacturing sectors directly, food and drink, and indirectly harming manufacturing by damaging service sectors that support it. Trade is below pre-Brexit levels, and of the trade deals the government trumpets only 2, with New Zealand and Australia, that are really new. These countries account for a small fraction of UK trade and always will. Regulatory divergence from the EU and aspirations set out in the benefits of Brexit could mean more disruption than benefit for UK manufacturers. We are where we are.
Thanks, Hugh. And I'm still wondering, with amazement, what our EU former friends will be making of Jacob Rees-Mogg, if they even understand him. What's your thoughts? Now, I must go down and have a lie down after all of that.